Hello everybody, this is the Apple Boom. I just wanted to go over a quick thing I made. I've been thinking about going more into the analytical side of delving into Pokken matches, like really going a lot deeper into it. I know I dabbled with this last time, or last summer, but I really wanted to figure out what's going on, see if we can get to a deeper understanding of player habits and character strengths. So I put this together. This is based off of the match between Oreo and Mins. I am not good with this. Sorry. At last Go for Bro. I'm sorry. Wow, that's a totally different local. At the last Hidden Boss. It's not HBA 7. It's Hidden Boss 7. Anyway, and it was Grand Finals. So yeah, I wanted to go over this match. So you have your basic stuff. It was Hidden Boss 7, Grand Finals. Mins played Shadow Mewtwo on the loser's side. Oreo was Mewtwo on the winner's side, and Oreo won 1-3. Spoilers, I guess. So I basically looked at two things: attacks that they hit with, and the mix-up situations. So let's do this one first. Now you can see here that when neither of them were in burst, that's what that means. You know what, let me make that smaller. Sorry. When neither of them were in burst, Mins hit with these moves in field phase, these moves in dual phase. Oreo hit with these moves in field phase, and these moves in dual phase. And here are their totals. And then when Mins was in burst, oh, so that's what that does. Sorry, just messing with the scroll wheel. When Mins was in burst, they got these hits off, and when Oreo was in burst, they got these hits off. And totals, and here's their grand totals. So we can learn a few things. You know, let me just clear that. We can learn a few things from that. For one, if you look at the grand totals, they're really not that different. You get a little more hit. People get hit more in dual phase. That's to be expected. Oreo has 2 more hits in field phase, and Mins has 3 more hits in dual phase. That's not very substantial. So yeah, they got the same amount of hits pretty much throughout the entire set, which is interesting, considering that Oreo won 3-1. Now, if you look at the more specific categories, though, you get to see some more interesting things. You don't get to see a whole lot here. Oreo was only in burst for a little bit. They both only got 1 hit off. There was a lot more of a neutral game going on, and Mewtwo barely gets burst, so you're not going to see a whole lot there. Whereas Mins gets burst a lot because he's playing Shadow Mewtwo, and you can see he got a lot of hits off, where Oreo didn't get a whole lot off. But the specific moves they get off say a lot. Where you're looking at Oreo being in burst, that's Earthquake from Reflect. So that means most likely that Mins countered something in the air with Reflect and punished with Earthquake. And similarly here with Oreo, he countered something and hit with, his counterattack. Now if you look over here, you get a lot more you got a lot more pressure tools that Mins hit with when he was in burst mode. So you get your jump X, you get your grabs. He broke guard with Zen headbutt. You get 6X's. Whereas Oreo are much more defensive tools here. Now I know 2Y can be a pressure tool, but this specifically Oreo used this as a grab break. Now you can't see that from here, but you can kind of infer it from knowing how Oreo plays a little bit, and yeah, just thinking about it. These are top level players. If you know a little bit about the game, you would be kind of surprised that Oreo was trying to hit Mins with 2Y when Mins would normally have Super Armor against that. So it's probably a grab break. In this case it was. And his Fire Punch. So these are very defensive counter tools. that Oreo got here. But he got a lot of damage from this thing hurts. This hurts, this hurts. Even when you are in burst mode. Now, let's go up here. There's a little more going on. These moves are organized first by the amount of times they used them and got a hit, and secondly by the order that they showed up. You can see Min's got a lot of guard breaks from X, from the homing attack string at the holding at the end. And this shows that Min's was really going for breaking Oreo's shield and getting rid of his synergy while also building his own synergy. And let's see, this is mainly a punish tool. This is one of the things where, on one hand, this can tell you a lot about what's going on if you don't know. On the other hand, you get even more from it if you already know a good amount of what's going on. Forward Y is usually a punish tool, so you can see you got 2 punishes off for something. Oh, and quick clarification, because I never outright stated this, but I'm only counting moves that hit, where you see, like Min's got a lot of homing attacks off. I'm not saying X and XX and XXX, because those are just later moves in the combo. So the first homing attack is what hit, and when I say something like this, XXX hold, that means the third homing attack is what hit, and it was a guard break. Similar for over here with 5YY, that means that Oreo no, you can't whiff and go into it. So yeah, that means that Oreo had his first part of his jab blocked, but then the second hit of the jab hit. So stuff like that. And here, this means that he went for jump Y, and it was blocked, and then he went for X, and the X got a hit. So you can see here, for one, the interesting thing is the huge lack of grabs. There are no grabs from Min's over here in dual phase when they're not in burst. He has 2 when he's in burst. But yeah, overall, he hit with 3 grabs. 1 here, 2 here. And so you could say he was Oreo was somehow getting him to respect him, most likely through these 2 Ys. Look at that, 6. When you see 3 grabs and 6 2Y hits from a character with an I9 2Y, that's probably telling you that he got a lot of his grabs broken. So Oreo was really good keeping those off of him, and Shadow Mewtwo grabs are scary. They hurt a lot, so that was really good on Oreo. You can also see through here just the type of hits that Min's got compared to Oreo. They both got the same amount of hits, but a lot of Oreo's hits were stuff like combo starters. Jump Y and 8Y are generally combo starters. Jab combo starter, side strike, where a lot of stuff that Min's got, like 6A, is not a combo starter. 5Y is. 2X is not a combo starter. Sidewave X, that's the Vortex. It's a good hit, it's not a combo starter. 2Y is. Jump Y kind of is. That one kind of is. Not like it is from Mewtwo. You can see a lot of combo starters from Oreo and more pokes from Min's. And so, yeah, you can guys look at this in your own leisure. I'm going to link it in the description. And let's move over to the mix-up situation. So here's looking at explicit mix-up situations. Now, there's your basic ones where one character gets knocked down, and the other character has to get up and deal with it. But I also wanted to explicitly look at when Min's did 2YY to Miracle Eye, and what happened there. So, you can see, when I say knockdown also, it's not just an explicit knockdown, but also whenever someone gets like an air tech and the other person's right on top of them, and so it's effectively a knockdown. They get to melee whatever attack they wanted. You can see Oreo didn't get a whole lot of knockdowns, and that just speaks to 2 things. 1, lack of aggression. 2, getting a lot more shifts instead of knockdowns into pressure, which makes sense. Compared to Min's, Shadow Mewtwo is a pressure character, where normal Mewtwo is not. He's kind of a neutral character. You can play it how you want, but against a pressure character, you don't want to go pressure. Against this character, you don't want to go pressure yourself, or else you are just opening the door for RPS, which is what you don't want to do. You can see it was just kind of 1-to-1, 50% win rate. Excuse me, no neutral. I don't have what? Oh, yes, I do. Alright, so now let's look over to Min's. Min's had a lot of knockdowns. I also have some notes. Like, this is a knockdown that happened in field phase. I also noted whenever a character was in burst. So, you can see there's a lot going on here. But, the interesting thing is, Oreo won out more often than Min's did. And Min's had his neutral, went to neutral from the knockdown. I should probably use this more. Shoot. I say as I screw up. Anyway. And you can see this happened, 2 times. This happened 7 times. So, from this you can see Oreo had generally a better hold on what was going on in these mix-up situations than Min's. Not a whole lot more, but the thing is, in the end, this is kind of a win for Oreo, because since Min's is playing Shadow Mewtwo, as indicated by this darker purple, he should be getting his damage and such from these pressure situations. And since they were kind of even, and Oreo actually won out more often, dang it. You see this 43% to his 29%, and they're even here, and they're even down here too. You can see the 2 and the 2. I'm going to go over that in a second. Yeah, this kind of means that Oreo kind of wins here, and this sheds some light as to why it was 3-1. Because this is supposed to be where Shadow Mewtwo is strong, but Oreo won out pretty well with Mewtwo. He made it even. He protected himself well. Now let's look down at the Miracle Eye. Now sometimes there's weird stuff going on, like here, Min's was in burst, and he went for a grab. I don't know what Oreo did, that's what these question marks mean. But he was hit by a trap and couldn't get grabbed because Min's put out a Miracle Eye. When he did this Miracle Eye, I'm only counting it normally when it's like up close for mix-up situations, but this time it was a double purpose. It was the mix-up, and it was also after side Y, so those little mirror things that Shadow Mewtwo puts out came up from those arrow things that he does. You guys know what I'm talking about. So it was kind of neutral because he was hoping Oreo would counterattack, it looks like, and he went for the grab. That's what you can see here. But instead, Oreo just got hit by the trap, and Min's just missed. So it was neutral. Come on. Yeah, let me use this more. Alright, so you can see he used a lot of Miracle Eye mix-ups and burst. Considering, now, like, it's half and half, so it means, at first you would think it's not a whole lot, because 4 times in burst, 5 times not in burst. But then if you think about it, he's not in burst way more often than he is in burst. So you can see that he was really favored towards them in burst. Now, there could be a few reasons for this. You could feel more comfortable pressuring when he has burst, and he has his super armor and everything. He could also feel more comfortable using these Miracle Eye mix-ups when he's not taking recoil from them, because you don't take recoil from special moves and burst as Shadow Mewtwo. And even for all of that, it was still neutral a good amount of the time. That's over half the time was neutral, 56%. And it was even between the two of them in terms of somebody winning out. So that's a quick analysis. There's way more you can get into about this, but yeah, I want to put this out there. Tell me if you guys like this. like these types of tools because they're not too hard to put together, and it's a lot easier to see a match at a glance instead of watching the whole thing, because the whole thing lasted probably like half an hour. But instead of looking half an hour, you get to see a lot of relevant points about the match very quickly. Alright, so if you guys like this, please let me know. I'll see you guys around, and maybe I'll do more.